Filmmaking for beginners. Let's go. Filmmaking is an incredible blend of art and technology. It's about storytelling, creating emotions, and bringing visions to life. But where do you start? Well, before you can create great films, you need to understand the basics, and this includes learning about different types of shots, camera angles, lighting techniques, and editing principles. It's one thing to learn them in a classroom, but it's a whole other ballgame entirely to learn them in practice. If you're a practical learner, then I would recommend an exercise which I used to use a lot to help me learn the basics. I call it the 30 by 30 rule. It's really easy to follow and it'll look like this. 10 minutes of storyboarding, 10 minutes of screenplay writing, 10 minutes of prep, and 30 minutes of filming, so an hour in whole. Your storyboard can be done however you like. Don't let anyone tell you what your storyboard has to look like. It can be done in list form, grid form, table form, or picture form, as well as any other form that you can think of. Just start out by thinking about what you want your video to look like chronologically, and then think about what it is that you need to do in order to accomplish that. So think about the shots. Think about, let's say if I was doing a video on a person writing a book, I might want to start with a person with their pen in their hand, and then the pen touching the paper, and then following the tip of the pen as it scribes over the paper, listening to the sound that makes, the harshness, the pressure being applied from pen to paper. I might also want an extreme close-up of a person's eyes to look at the focus and determination in their eyes. Or maybe they're writing something begrudgingly and they don't want to be writing something at all, and they might have this kind of kick-back, laissez-faire attitude. So it really depends on what it is that you're trying to tell. Write something for a 1 to 3 minute screenplay using CEX, which is a script writing software which you can download for free online. I've put the link in the description below. Now, it's free, and the only drawback that I can think of is that you are limited to how many open projects you can have at any one time. But to get around that, I just download them as PDFs, I save them to my laptop, and then I delete the script on CEX. And if I ever have to revert to it again, I can just use the PDF that I downloaded. Think about the following when writing your script: beginning, middle, end, and twist. Don't be too clever, don't be too fancy. Just remember, you're not trying to write a Hollywood blockbuster, you're just trying to learn the fundamentals of filmmaking, and that includes writing a screenplay. So keep it small, keep it sensible, keep it concise and to the point. Think about the equipment that you'll need and the shots that you'll require to produce your film. Think about what you want your final product to look and sound like. Do you want only music? Do you want a voice overlay? It doesn't really matter, just do something, and then once you have a finished project, then you can look back, reflect on it. Do not start reflecting too early. If you do that, you'll never finish the project, I promise. Just tinker around, play with it, keep it to the point, try and meet your 10-minute deadlines, and once you've got to the end of the project, then reflect on it. Part 2. You don't need the most expensive gear to start making films. Here is a list of essential equipment for beginner filmmakers. You can start with something as simple as a smartphone, DSLR camera, or mirrorless camera. My personal recommendation would be to just use your smartphone, really just because you probably already own it and it won't break the bank whilst you're trying to figure things out. I am not saying just rely on the smartphone you have and don't buy a camera. In fact, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that you can use the opportunity to grasp the basics and then make an educated decision on what camera you want to buy. If you are going to buy a camera, I would personally recommend the Lumix G7 mirrorless camera. It's an excellent camera, all of its features are still relevant today, it's a terrific budget camera, and I have had no issues with it since owning it for over 2 years now. Microphones. Think about your audio. Good audio is crucial. Even if your visuals are stunning, poor audio will often not be forgiven and will most definitely ruin the experience. My personal recommendation would be a Rode or DJI wireless mic set. Now, they are affordable online and you can even buy them secondhand, so you can make another saving there. They are great value for money and you can't really go wrong with them. They can go quite some distance before you start to lose signal. They also have a variety of adapters, allowing you to use them with cameras, phones, and even on their own. So if you do upgrade to a camera, don't feel like your microphones are then going to become obsolete. And it also goes the other way around. If you want to start filming using your phone rather than your camera, your mics are not obsolete. You have a way of doing that. I would highly recommend DJI mics or Rode mics. Tripods and stabilizers. Keeping your shots steady is important for a professional look. A basic tripod is a great start, but you can also explore stabilizers for more dynamic shots. Some cameras will come with inbuilt stabilization, but many won't. Don't worry though, just because your camera may not have a stabilizer doesn't mean that you won't be able to get steady footage. Your lens might come with a stabilizer built into it, and if it doesn't, you can always buy a gimbal or a tripod. Both have their merits and both have their cons. It will really depend on what your needs and wants are. If you just need something to keep your shots static and steady, or if you're going to do some panning shots slowly and in a very, very controlled way, I would recommend just buying a £20 tripod from Argos or some other store local to you. If you're in the USA, that'll probably be Walmart. On the other hand, if you're planning on filming sports where the action happens quickly, where for instance you're following a football, then a fluid head tripod would be more appropriate because it would eliminate most of the shudder associated with quick whip pan movements. They are also heavier and more sturdy, making it less likely that you're going to knock it over, like I did when I was filming a match. Lighting. Natural light is great, but having some basic lighting equipment can make a huge difference, especially for indoor shoots. These days, you don't need to buy large, expensive tungsten lights and lug those around wherever you go. Nowadays, you can go online, you can buy lights quite cheap, quite inexpensive, quite light, and that's what my recommendation would be, especially if you are new to filmmaking and you are a beginner. Nowadays, you can buy basic lighting setups off Amazon, like softboxes and lighting rigs and ring lights and so on. My own personal recommendation would be to purchase 3 portable RGB lights, which will total you less than £70. Otherwise, you can buy a basic lighting setup between £200 and £300. Each has its merits, but the portable lights you can take anywhere. They don't take long to recharge, they have good lighting range, and they don't take up much space in your kit bag. They're also multicoloured, meaning you don't have to carry around different coloured gels, etc. to change the mood and theme of your shoot. As I said though, it really depends on your needs. Portable RGBs are good for vloggers and beginner filmmakers. However, if you want to control the light even in a medium-sized place, I would recommend a basic plug-in lighting setup. Editing is where your film really comes together. There are many software options available for you from free to professional grade. If you are a beginner filmmaker, I would recommend using CapCut over Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. Premiere Pro and DaVinci are both professional graded editing softwares. DaVinci is a node-based editing software, whereas Premiere Pro is layer-based. Again, each has its own pros and cons. That being said, they can be a little overwhelming to learn. That's why I would recommend CapCut. You can use it on your desktop or phone, and it comes with basic editing cuts, transitions, visual effects, etc., as well as easy-to-use templates, which you can tinker around with. Honestly, CapCut is something that I would highly, highly recommend. Part 3. The best way to do filmmaking is to just do. So just start doing something. Start with small projects, start tinkering around, learning different camera techniques, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Share your work with your friends, family, or online communities to get feedback. It's all a part of the learning process. I would recommend storing your footage somewhere, and about every 4 to 9 films, look back on all of them collectively and think about what you could have done better for all of them. Alternatively, you can download footage online and you can try your hand at editing those. You have options to color grade, adjust sound, add music, sound effects, etc., etc. All of this on CapCut and much, much more, so it shouldn't be too difficult for you to do. Lastly, I can guarantee you something, and that's that if you start somewhere, the only place you can go is up. You might be wondering why I haven't really spoken about editing. Well, that's something that I want to do another time, and so I will be posting a video on here on this channel at a later date. And if you want to keep an eye out, just hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when I do release it. Also, if you're going to leave a comment, just do so, be respectful, be kind, be courteous, listen to each other's opinions. It's a space where we all listen to each other, and if we do listen to each other, I promise you we will all grow as a family. I really, really believe in that principle. I really, really, really do. My name is Michael. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.